Now, we spoke there about New Year's resolutions. I suppose this isn't really a New Year's resolution, but lots of people do make plans for the new year, something that they want to achieve. We heard from Leslie earlier on, who says she wants to learn how to juggle with clubs. Now, for Treff Davis from Lincolnshire, he wants to break a world record. And it's a different sort of record-breaking attempt, because you can help with this as well. And Treff is with us in the studio. So, explain what it is.
The world record is the record for the most comments on an online news post in 24 hours. It means you read a news article or a blog post, as in my case, you say, oh, this is a really great post, Trev, or you argue with what it's like on the BBC, they have BBC News articles, and then people get the chance to comment on them, don't they? And so this is the one, the post, which will have more comments than any other post in the world.
See how times have changed. I was expecting you to say, I'm going to try for the number of telephone directories I could rip in half in an hour, or something like that. Those are the world records.
I'm too old for that.
Those are the world records we'd like to see. So this is, I suppose, using what we use, what everybody uses today, modern technology. It's a modern technology world record.
Well, I'm a modern technologist, aren't I? I work for an ISP. But it all started with a night out with a customer in London who happened to say they read my blog, trevor.net. Okay, and I said, oh well, let's have a bit of fun here. I'll give you £1 for every member of staff from your company that leaves a comment on the blog. And to cut a long story short, by the end of the night, it had gone a bit out of hand, and we decided we'd go for a world record, and I upped the £100 to 2,000 that Tomiko would donate. And so we went away, having had a good night, and deciding we'd break a world record. So I woke up the next day, of course, thinking, well, what is exactly the world record? So I contacted the Guinness World Records people, and they said, well, there isn't one, but we think that a figure of 100,000 comments would be appropriate for this. And the most I've ever had is 65 comments on my blog. And if you look at the BBC or the Guardian, which is a big one, maybe 300 or 400 is a very good one. So 100,000 comments. Thought, wow, how are we going to do that?
I should explain as well, because you mentioned a couple of things. Tomiko is an internet service provider.
That's my business.
And it's an internet service provider for businesses.
That's right.
So you might not have heard of that, but it's the same as if you get your internet provider from BT or from Virgin. You deal with businesses rather than home consumers.
Exactly, yeah.
Okay, so so you're going to write a blog, and you are trying to get 100,000 comments on the back of that blog. Now, surely you're going to have to write something that is going to inspire lots of people to want to comment. Surely the subject is the key factor here. What are you going to write about?
Well, you're the first person that's picked up on that, and I am not going to tell you what the subject is, because you'll have to go on the blog and read about it on Thursday morning, 6 a.m. But
you could put on there, I think black is white. Discuss.
It's obviously got to be something that's going to make people want to leave comments. And the word inspiration is a bit of a clue. So you start thinking about things that inspire you, and maybe that'll give you a clue to what the blog post is all about. But this is ahead of the time. But the biggest I got. When I woke up the next morning, I had two problems, really. One is that, finding out that I needed to do 100,000 comments meant, wow, that's the kind of size of website that the BBC has. The BBC is geared to cope with millions of people coming to visit it, and most websites aren't. So I had a real problem there, and I was lucky in that Tomiko has come and offered me this fantastic new platform. Instead of having one computer hosting the blog, it's hosted on 72 computers, and instead of having a connection like you do at home of maybe a 10 meg broadband, it's actually got a broadband connection 2,000 times faster than that. So it's got everything has been thrown at it to be able to cope with the traffic. And then, of course, well, how on earth am I going to get 100,000 people to leave comments on it? And so many people have come out of the woodwork to want to help. They've got social media experts, they've got PR companies, marketing companies, technology companies saying, yes, we think this is a really great idea. And they've all come to help. And the biggest philosophical problem I had was that, I'd offered £2,000 to the RNLI, actually. This is a proper charitable thing for £1 for every comment. But if I actually broke the record, £2,000 would seem a little bit small in terms of the hundreds of thousands of people that came to the site. So I contacted the RNLI, and they said, well, the best thing you can do is to put a link to our giving page as well. So so all this is starting to come together, and lots of people are getting interested in it. And on Friday, somebody left a comment on a post on the blog saying, we'd like to help by giving you some more money for comments. So I thought, well, that's fantastic. So now I've got 2,000, and then the next 250 comments have got £1 each. And so I'm up to 2,250. And then over the course of the weekend, other people have come forward, and I'm now at 2,500.
Almost sponsoring.
Oh, it's incredible. Yeah, it is sponsoring a comment, £1 a comment.
So sponsoring how well you're doing. The further you get with this, the more money you're going to raise.
And so over the next 2 or 3 days, and then run up to Thursday, all the effort's going to be getting more sponsors in, so that that if we hit the 100,000 comments, it can be a really meaningful donation to the RNLI.
So however far you get, there will be money going to the RNLI. Oh,
definitely.
Yeah.
You think about it. If we got these things happen so quickly in this online world. If we got £1 million worth of sponsorship, we could have £1 million for the RNLI, and that would be an incentive for people to come and leave comments, wouldn't it?
Yes, because they think they're going to help there as well. So what is the subject going to be?
It's going to be inspiration.
It's interesting. It's interesting because and for people that use the internet and go on blogs, they've been around for a long time. And leaving a comment isn't anything new. For a lot of people, it is a little bit new. They might not sort of tend to they might read without leaving messages. So you're trying to get as many people as possible, whether they've ever left a message or not before.
Most people read but don't leave messages. I think normally people have to feel fairly passionate about what's been written to leave a comment. But I think the combination of, hey, it's for a charitable cause, and it's going to be worth a while leaving it. And you have to think that the way these things get marketed, I know, like Twitter, you're on Twitter and we follow each other on Twitter, and the word can get spread very widely. So people, every time somebody leaves a comment, if they use their Twitter account, it will be retweeted. And the type of person who's going to be visiting to create the world record are probably going to be typically more internet and social media savvy literate types who aren't afraid to leave a comment. On the other hand, if you must go on the website trefor.net on Thursday and see what it's all about, because I think it's not the post is not geared for people who are experts. It's going to be geared for everyday person who's got something to say.
But here you are in Lincolnshire, and this is something that you hope will just spread right around the world.
Yeah. It's going to put Lincoln on the map, isn't it? Lincoln Christmas Market and the Trefor.net World Record. How about that?
I don't think they'll use that in their publicity, but you never know. It could be the home of another record breaker.
Oh, it could, and for us, the timing of it is quite good as well, because I think I may have mentioned I'm just opening this new data centre, which is a place that the internet gets stored, because the internet doesn't live on this wishy-washy place that nobody knows where it is. It actually has to sit on computers. So your website sits on someone's computer somewhere, just like the BBC or Google. There's a piece of hardware there, and we've built a special facility in Newark to be able to host the internet, and it hasn't opened yet. So I've got the whole of that facility to just beat this world record.
Okay, right. Starts on Thursday.
6 a.m. Thursday for 24 hours.
How long have you got to do it?
24 hours.
24 hours.
So 6 a.m. Friday.
Okay. All right, well, we'll mention it on Thursday. Give us the address again.
www.trefor.net. trefor.net.
All right, and look out for it, because if you're online, people will be talking about this, is what you hope. Right, good to talk to you. Thank you very much. Thanks, Treff. And you could be a record breaker. What do you do if do we get Norris McWhirter in?
Is he still alive?
I don't know. But it could be another record breaker. We're going to hear from somebody who has already got a Guinness World Record on the programme a little bit later on.